6:30 in Kikakilaiki, 6:30 in Ofukpabi, same time in the nation's political capital, Yaoundé, and in Douala, the nation's economic capital. Thanks for trusting my Major Prime for Prime News. My name is Genda Pelgian Blanche King, and on today's edition of Prime News, recent developments in the murder case of Nkeng Beza, Lizette, 21-year-old graduate from the Catholic University in Boya, shows that her best friend has a hand in her sudden disappearance and death. According to investigations, it should be noted that reports had pointed fingers at her boyfriend was still under investigations. Nkeng Beza Lizette's body was discovered on Saturday in a hostel in Boya at a state of decomposition. Investigations are still ongoing. Stay with us for updates on this story. It is a developing story. Political parties and individuals have questioned government measures to fight against COVID-19 in the country. Ahead of school resumption on June 1, 2020, the PAP political party as well as individuals have stated there is a need to cancel school resumption and re-strategize the fight against COVID-19 in the country. Details in the following report. June 1st classes are a sign of miscalculation, bad faith, poor leadership, and failure in government priorities. These are the words of National Communications Secretary of Popular Action Party, PAP. According to the party secretary, Fabrice Lena, the government under President Paul Biya has failed to effectively enforce strategies to contain COVID-19 in Cameroon. In an article released May 26, 2020, the party questions the financial and administrative organization of the Ministry of Public Health. They hold that reports from the ministry on the evolution of the pandemic in Cameroon appears ambiguous for Cameroon citizens to follow. They equally call on the resignation of the president, bashing government efforts, which to them doesn't pay special attention to IDPs, private school teachers, and the vulnerables of major cities. 2018 presidential candidate Serge Espoir Matumba also said on Monday, 25 May 2020, in a press release that school resumptions planned for 1st June be called off due to the inability of the government to contain the COVID-19 virus in the country. School is set to resume on June 1st for pupils and students in examination classes. Many Cameroonians think that at a time when the country struggles with positive cases above 4,000, there is a need to be careful and ensure safety measures at all times and in every situation. In an attempt to ensure the safety of teachers and students at the time of the COVID-19, some 19 teachers trade unions have resolved to boycott the resumption of school come June 1st, 2020 if some barrier measures are not taken into consideration. Details with Faith Tata in the following report.
The Cameroon Teachers Unions have, through a recently released document, issued out conditions under which they will return to their classrooms, failure of which they will boycott the June 1st school resumption. According to these 19 trade unions, the atmosphere under which schools are resuming are still not safe enough and hence posing a risk to the lives of the learners and teachers. According to the document, teachers will only return to school if all schools, especially examination centers, are well equipped with material to help fight the coronavirus or respond to any emergencies, as well as disinfecting the school campuses regularly and ensuring students and pupils do not exceed the number 24 per class. The document also provides that students should be tested only on the basis of what they have learned in school, with bonuses for the teachers who are putting their lives on the line. It should be recalled that the government's decision to reopen school by June 1st has been questioned and criticized by some Cameroonians who have asked how safe it will be given the coronavirus statistics are still on the rise.
Speaking in an interview session granted the Voice of America, head singer Charlotte Dipanda says there is need for power alteration in Cameroon as there can't be any meaningful development without change. Our reporter Dolly Ngonde took interest in this and now reports.
No strange thing to say that, from time immemorial, Paul Biya's long stay in power as President of the Republic of Cameroon has always been criticized by many, including strong political figures like the Professor Maurice Kamto, Ni John Frundi, Kawala Edith, Joshua Osi, as well as a handful of some English-speaking Cameroonians, amongst others. But what's making news recently is the addition of the 34-year-old Afro-pop singer Charlotte Dipanda into the list of the anti-Biya regime protesters. Charlotte has shockingly proven to her fans and the world that her potentials aren't just limited to singing and entertaining huge crowds, but would also make a good political advocate in due time, following the release of a video that has gone viral online, in which the singer declares that the current government has come to an end on what it had to offer Cameroon. In an interview granted the popularly known American-based channel The Voice of America, the author of the Cuckoo hit track decries President Biya's long stay in power while remaining patriotic and demonstrating an in-depth knowledge of her country.
Effectivement, j'ai vraiment eu la chance en tant qu'Camerounaise d'aller dans plusieurs régions du Cameroun. C'est un atout parce que les Camerounais à l'intérieur du pays ne voyagent pas beaucoup. Donc chacun reste dans sa région, reste dans sa ville. Souvent on grandit et puis les autres on les voit toujours comme si c'était un peu des étrangers. D'où l'appellation de l'Afrique en miniature. C'est vraiment un pays qui du nord au sud est complètement différent. Les gens ont des postures différentes, des cultures différentes. D'ailleurs, on a presque plus de 200 langues au Cameroun.
Born in the early 1980s, Charlotte is definitely one of those Cameroonians who has known only one president of the Republic of Cameroon. Disappointed by this, the pop artist says one reason there can't be any meaningful development in Cameroon is due to the lack of dynamism at the Unity Palace.
D'où la difficulté même pour un chef d'État de diriger tous ces Camerounais de tous bords, différents. Mais j'avoue que moi, par exemple, il est temps qu'on nous propose autre chose.
Although very little is often said about her private life, her political position recently has broken the law of silence, as she suggests the way forward for a more developed Cameroon is dependent on the younger generation.
Je pense que l'État actuel est arrivé à bout de ce qu'il pouvait proposer au Cameroun et que humblement, il gagnerait à céder la place à un nouvel gouvernement.
While others in her likes as Samuel Eto'o, Christian Bassagog, and many more Cameroonians of goodwill are busy making contributions in joining the government to eradicate the plaguing coronavirus pandemic, Charlotte is definitely using this period of confinement to strategize on the change Cameroon needs. Despite her recent position, the artist is well known through her melodious tracks and magnificent appearances on the popular television show The Voice Afrique Francophone, and as such, she remains one of those young Cameroonians taking the nation's flag across the world.
Dolly Gonde ending the report. In the southwest region, Meme journalists under the banner of Kamasage have been reminded on the need to respect the anti-COVID measures as they remain active in the fight against the spread of the virus in the country. This was during the reception of anti-COVID items provided by the National Bureau of Kamasage. The ceremony took place over the weekend in Meme Division, as her southwest-based correspondent Tamfu Sidwan Dimbie tells us more in the following report.
Members of the Cameroon Association of English-Speaking Journalists, Mementian and Kupe Maninguba Giant Chapter, on Saturday, May 23, were happy recipients of anti-COVID-19 kits donated by the National Bureau of Kamasage.
We have hand sanitizers, we have masks, we also have these buckets where we do the hand wash, the spray hand wash, and then we also have other educative gadgets.
The activity falls within a project adopted by the association to ensure advocacy as the world fights COVID-19. Handing over the items in Kumba, the National Organizing Secretary of the association, Mr. Shingang Richard, delivered a message of congratulations from the National President, Viban Jude, to the media practitioners as they remain in the front line as communicators in the global fight.
I wish to use this opportunity to thank the journalists for the hard work they have been doing, putting their lives on the line, among others the doctors and other key stakeholders for the fight against COVID-19. It is a collective effort. That is why we are doing our own, we don't mind, doing our own little contribution alongside other stakeholders for this fight. We believe that we as journalists, we shall continue to ask pertinent questions, and we shall continue to do so until we have good answers for this question concerning the evolution, what is going on vis-a-vis the eradication of COVID-19 in Cameroon, Africa, and the world.
Also present at the ceremony was the divisional delegate of communication from Meme, Madame Ebane Slezo, who thanked the National Bureau of the association.
As the divisional delegate of communication, to acknowledge receipts of these gifts from the National Cameroon, I want to tell them a big thank you for engaging in the fight against COVID-19. And I believe with this gift, they shall be used judiciously in the fight against COVID-19 in the town of Kumba.
Receiving the items, the chapter president of the association proceeded immediately to distribute the items to Meme journalists and later on at the Kumba newspaper kiosk, commonly called the Press Center. Here, journalists and readers gather on daily basis to get abreast with the current events in and around the country. A hand wash bucket, soap, face masks and hand sanitizers were left here to be used by those who pass around to read newspaper headlines.
Away from the southwest region, we get into the northwest region of Cameroon, where Muslim faithfuls in Bamenda celebrated the feast of Ramadan in all positivity with words from the Imam of the Bamenda Central Mosque, Taku Mohammed, dedicated to faithfuls to strengthen national cause for the fight against COVID-19 in the country. Charles Kebwa is a man from Bamenda. He reports.
Muslim faithfuls in Bamenda ended Ramadan in a positive note at their Old Town Mosque in Bamenda. To celebrate Ramadan, prayers were scheduled in groups and shifts to ensure they respect measures to be COVID-free.
And wish Barakah Salah for all the Muslims all over Cameroon, where they perform Ramadan, 30 days Ramadan, or Ronduam. When are obligatory for all Muslims. So far as you don't be matured, you must perform this fasting. If you never do them, you fail for do one. So you go pay back with 2 months fasting, apart from 1 more in the do. But because of this COVID-19, I don't want much gathering. We just decide for pray for inside mosque in shift, and we don't share the prayer so that many people know plenty for one place. So that we pray in peace, we respect the rules and regulations where government don't put on for we and World Health Organization.
They prayed for peace and for Allah to wipe away the most dreaded COVID-19 pandemic. After prayers at the Center Mosque, the Muslim-dominant inhabited neighborhood Old Town Bamenda, despite calls on the Muslims to avoid large gatherings, feasting overpowered some preventive measures as physical distancing and wearing of masks were near in existence as they celebrate Ramadan.
First, up to this day, no be all man don't see the particular day, so now the wider will don't be out for today and for glad, even though say the town no day fight, so we're glad for see this particular day, how we don't end for we fight.
Imam Tuku Muhammad of the Center Mosque Bamenda, in a word, told the Muslim faithfuls the fight against COVID-19 goes beyond the feast.
We stay in the northwest region. In Bamenda, a 3-day outdoor sporting event has been organized by the Bamenda 2 Council aimed at revamping the spirit of peace, unity and love for one another in the face of the health and socio-political crisis rocking the nation. The event was celebrated under the theme Youth and Elites Uniting for a Common Vision and Fight Against COVID-19. Charles Kebwa once more in the following report.
3 days sporting activities ended over the weekend in Bamenda, sponsored by the Bamenda 2 Council in 3 categories: swimming, cross-country race, and lawn tennis, was aimed at animating the spirit of peace, unity, and love for one another in the face of the ongoing health and political crisis affecting the Bamenda 2 municipality, the region, and Cameroon under the theme Youth and Elites Uniting for a Common Vision and Fight Against COVID-19. The mayor of Bamenda 2 Council, Chenry Peter, closing the 3 days outdoor sporting activities, said his council is using sports as a vector for development, while thanked illustrious elites, all who participated in the 3 categories of the sporting events and those who contributed morally and or financially, considering the security challenges.
The sporting activity has been down for more than 4 years because of the war, the income going on in the region. We have taken our office to reconcile our community, our municipality, to bring back our people together. We have to sit on the table. We cannot talk from distance. We can use sport as the medium to share, to collaborate, to see how we can stabilize our region. We will not expect from outside to come and build this for us. We have to be able.
Some participants expressed their satisfaction.
It's not easy, especially at the level of Seaben. It was not easy to climb. But I want to use the opportunity to say congratulations to Mr. Cheng Peter and Lord of the Bamenda 2 Council for this opportunity. You know, sports is a unifying factor, and as a sport reporter, it's not only to talk the talk, it's to talk the talk and walk the walk.
At least this is something that can bring people together, and by bringing people together, at least it keeps the town functioning.
The 3 days outdoor sporting events also noted the participation of some ex-fighters from the Disarmament and Reintegration Center, GDR Bamenda, who took part in the 3 days outdoor sporting event. Animations crowned the day.
Thanks, Charles Kebwa, with that report from the Northwest region. We enter this edition of Prime News on My Media Prime. Thanks so much for watching. Join us tomorrow, God willing, at 6:30 for another edition of Prime News on My Media Prime. The news was produced and coordinated by Mechuke Stanley Mwangalame, directed by Ewane Elite Nolinga. My name is Genda Poji Blanche King for coordination. Thank you so much. Stay tuned to My Media Prime for more programs. Good night.